If Thierry Henry can sacrifice his game,
bro, and that's Thierry Henry playing with a young Messi who hadn't achieved what he's achieved now, and playing with Samuel Eto'o. Like Mbappe's playing with Neymar, who's going to go on to be one of Brazil's greatest ever players, and Lionel Messi, who's won everything and is probably the greatest player of all time right now.
And he's still performing well.
And still, so like, if you're playing out of position, you play with those guys, mate, chin it.
What do we think of Mbappe right now?
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I think you can frame it like, who would you rather have in your team? Or like, Mbappe or Mbappe or Haaland?
I think Mbappe's the better player, the better footballer.
Yeah, I think that's true. I'd agree.
But yeah, you can't argue with Haaland's goal scoring at the moment. But yeah, I'd go Mbappe.
Yeah.
If you give me the, what are you saying?
Well, no part of me is like questioning his ability, and I think if he's not, next up, or I think he's like one of the next up. I think him and Haaland are like, hopefully going to carry the mantle of football when the inevitable retirement of Messi and Ronaldo comes, whatnot. Yeah. But what I meant is like, obviously he's coming out and he's like very much like saying pivot gang and things like that. He's almost like putting things on we put things on social media where he's talking about he doesn't like playing in the position he's playing. Now I'd understand that if he was playing in like a Stoke where he's playing in front of he's playing long ball all the time, but he's playing up front in front of two of the most creative players of this generation, Messi arguably all time. Like, is there an aspect where you kind of just like Mbappe has too much power right now? It's like, play your game.
Definitely.
Yeah. They gave him the keys to the kingdom, and I don't think you do that in football. You do that in basketball because it's such a different sport, and it is such a capitalist sport. It's like, go get your bread, and then they have so much of an effect on the team because it's only 5 players on the court. But in football, you can't hand the keys to the kingdom to like a kid who has his own vested interests, because of course when he's not being played in the position that he wants to be played in, or the manager's not necessarily employing the tactics that he wants, he's going to throw his toys out the pram because he's never been told no. Henry said it in the CBS coverage of the Champions League. He was like, this seems like a kid who's never been told no. And Henry loves Mbappe, obviously being French. It's like, it's a dangerous game to play in footy, man. I just don't think you can do that. And like, obviously they gave him everything because they wanted him to re-sign and not go to Real Madrid. But now you look at it, Real Madrid don't want to deal with PSG. Mbappe wants to leave PSG, and there's no real landing spots. Who can afford those wages? Who can afford that? So like, now he's kind of stuck. Obviously, we need to not forget how precocious of a talent that he is. He's already won the World Cup. He scored in the World Cup final. He's done a lot already. He's on track to be one of the greatest players this game's ever seen. But the attitude is a bit of a problem at this stage.
That's what I'm saying. I think that when obviously, because that's what made me think about it, is Henry making those comments. When Henry said that, playing in one of the greatest like club sides of all time in Barcelona, and he didn't want to play down the left wing, but he did it for the sake of the team. This is Thierry Henry. Like, if Mbappe is a big player, Thierry Henry is a bigger player right now. Do you know what I mean? Like, Mbappe might go and achieve more in his career, but Thierry Henry is one of the, he's in the Premier League Hall of Fame. He's one of the greatest players of all time. If Thierry Henry can sacrifice his game,
bro, and that's Thierry Henry playing with a young Messi who hadn't achieved what he's achieved now, and playing with Samuel Eto'o. Like, Mbappe's playing with Neymar, who's going to go on to be one of Brazil's greatest ever players, and Lionel Messi, who's won everything and is probably the greatest player of all time right now.
And he's still performing well.
And so like, if you're playing out of position, you play with those guys, mate, chin it, because you should be one of the favourites of the Champions League right now. But like, I feel like the ego is just a bit much. And if you were to ask me in terms of Haaland or Mbappe, there's no doubt that Mbappe is a better player. But in terms of the lack of drama that you get of Haaland and the way that he handles his business, I'll probably take that over the circus that surrounds Mbappe.
100.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Haaland scoring the goals he has seemingly put the pressure on Mbappe to look at it and go, he's getting all this attention, it's me versus him, and he started throwing his toys out the pram. And I also think exactly what you've just said. Like, Haaland's gone to City, and I remember games like a couple of weeks ago, he scored like a hat-trick or something, and De Bruyne and Pep are coming out in the interviews afterwards and saying, like, they're getting asked about Haaland, and they're going, he actually needs to improve aspects of his game. He needs to link play more. He's not involved enough. And Haaland's not there on social media putting cryptic tweets out crying, is he? Haaland's going, Kevin De Bruyne, Pep Guardiola, I respect this. And you're playing with Messi, like you said, Neymar, who, by the way, I think is criminally underrated.
Oh, ridiculously underrated.
And you're crying about it, and it's just like, little boy, sit down. Sit down. Listen to them. Like, you're a child basically in this game. Like, you can't be disrespecting the goats.
And do you know what? Not to discredit Mbappe in any way, but like, obviously, I feel like I've heard the opinion that Mbappe is a better player than Haaland. Like, he's more enjoyable to watch. But like, ultimately, Haaland's now he's got 15 goals in the Premier League in his debut season. Like Haaland sat down the mental. He's doing it in a better league. Mbappe's like collecting a huge paycheck, rightfully so. Go get your money, my guy. Create generational wealth for the next 10 generations for your family. Do what you need to do. But I'm not putting disrespect on Haaland's name now, because he's just like, you know, he's a consummate pro and he's scoring goals. So you know, Mbappe, if you want to prove yourself, get yourself to West Ham.
That's the narrative we need to stop with the Mbappe thing, because he has won the World Cup. He has won the World Cup. We need to remember that. He has won the World Cup.
Absolute baller. If he's not the best player in the world right now, he's probably like, well, I think Benzema is probably like arguably up there anyway. But if he's not going to be, you know, if we're putting Haaland number 1 and Mbappe's number 2, like people are going to interchange those. Like, you know, it's like the Messi Ronaldo debate. Like if you're 1 or 2, both great. Do you know what I mean? Both great. But at the same time, I just think Haaland's doing it in a league where he's performing right now.
Are you Messi or Ronaldo?
You know what? You know my answer to this.
Go on.
I'm Ronaldo. Like, not at the moment, because I think Ronaldo's acting like an absolute petulant child, but I think Ronaldo in general, I think I resonate to him more than anything, because I think he's the personification of hard work, applying yourself, like, and just being driven and kind of dedicating your entire life to just one goal, and that's you know, breaking every record that you possibly can. Whereas I feel like Messi kind of possesses this innate ability to like you know, just do things on a football that we don't see often. It's like generational talent. As much as he was like fed like HGH hormone when he was like a kid
allegedly.
no, he was
okay, but
as
like,
much as he was given like, you know, like unnatural like growths and like all sorts of stuff like that to help him grow as a footballer, like, you know, we're talking about like the 2 greatest players in my opinion of all time. But from a personal standpoint, you know, if you give me a pen and paper and you say to me, you know, design the best footballer of all time, like you would make him Ronaldo's height. You would say he can jump 15 feet in the air like Ronaldo does. You can say that he can dribble, he can go past players, he can score, he can do it off both feet, he can score goals from any angle, he can, you know, he's probably good looking, he's probably marketable. Do you know what I mean? Like,
so you fancy Gerrard and you fancy Cristiano Ronaldo.
I don't fancy Gerrard.
What about you fancy yourself? I was gonna say, do you fancy Ronaldo? Do you prefer Ronaldo or Messi?
I think Messi's undoubtedly the better footballer, but Ronaldo's had the better career. That's how I sit on the fence with it. So I look at Ronaldo's career and I just think like exactly what Jamie said. Like, he's applied himself, he's proved it in every league. And yeah, he's scary, but I watch Messi sometimes and you see like these Twitter highlights go up, or these Twitter compilations when they're like 47 minutes long of just Messi playing passes, and you're like, this is ridiculous. Every single one. I haven't, it's a joke. So I'd probably go with Messi's the better footballer.
There's probably like there's probably like 100 to 200 moments like that Messi's done which are just outrageous, that would get into any other player's top 10. And like they probably wouldn't even touch his top 50.
Do you know what? For the longest time, and I am still a Ronaldo guy, I've been his biggest apologist, and I'm a bit pissed off at how he dealt with the situation against Spurs, where he just walked down the tunnel before the full-time whistle. Always been a Ronaldo guy, and I think I still am a Ronaldo guy, but I've been down the rabbit hole of Messi compilation videos, and I'm just like, some of the things that he was doing at his pomp. And people forget that when they were at their pomp, there was like a 7-year period where they were both just going at it, probably 8-year period. Messi was actually a better goal scorer than Ronaldo in terms of he scored more goals per game. It's crazy.
Just to jump onto that as well. So like I would say, like, the older I get, I do appreciate Messi more, and it might just be that because I know that they're both going to be leaving the game soon. But there is like a strong part of me that wants Argentina to put, like, you know, a serious challenge in this year, just to cement his legacy, because there's always going to be the old heads that's just like, oh, Maradona was different gravy. It's like, great.
Well, it's there for both of them, mate. If Messi wins the World Cup, greatest player of all time, undisputed. If Ronaldo wins World Cup, all these Messi fans can't deny the fact that my man's won the Euros, won the World Cup. It's no dispute anymore.
So JCC, you got to help me, my guy. Obviously, you come from, you know, you're a prominent YouTuber. You make a lot of FIFA videos. I've seen that you've gone 500 on clubs. I'm going over 500 on clubs, man. I need a few tips.
Man,
like,
you need to ditch your friends.
Ditch my friends.
Yeah, you got better teammates on clubs. Man.
I might be the friend though. I might be the bad friend. You know what I mean?
The bad friend.
I've seen him play FIFA. He's a bad friend.
He's a bad friend.
This guy can't talk about FIFA. This guy goes 1-0 down and suddenly the power cuts out.
No, I ain't rage quitter. Yeah. I'm a Smash controller.
The amount of times growing up, like, when I'm talking PS2 days, this guy would be like 1-0 up. He would just like edge his way closer to the PS2 so he could just like touch the off button.
The toes.
Like,
oh no!
I have to restart the game. That's the guy. That's that guy over there. And you know it's true from the laugh.
That is a guilty laugh right there. That is a guilty
laugh. He knows what he's doing. He's either doing that or we're playing Monopoly. He's stealing money from
I
the
don't
bank.
do that. No, I don't do that.
Yes,
No, I don't do that, mate. I'm an honourable Monopoly player. Like the FIFA thing, I'm in it. On camera, I'm in it. I don't steal money from the back of Monopoly.
Okay,
No, he
well,
brings his own. You got to check his pockets.
that's it. He's got a spare set in his pocket.
I'm an honourable Monopoly player.
500s can't keep popping out. But yeah,
Yeah.
obviously, we'd love to talk more FIFA and everything. What's one feature you would add to FIFA 8 that you think's missing?
To pro clubs, I would add the microphone feature. So, like, if I'm playing against you guys and I score, we can start chatting. Or like a little proxy chat where if you're close to another player on the pitch, you can speak. Imagine you're like marking me and I'm just like giving you the stick down the mic. I think it'd be unreal because obviously one-on-one FIFA's different to pro clubs. If you don't know listening, you play like controlling one player, so you can have 11 of you controlling individual players. I think the microphone situation would be chaos.
That would rattle me.
Mate, they'd have to change it to an 18.
Mate,
They'd have to change it to an 18.
Yeah, I know.
Imagine I'm like, we're losing 3-0 and I've got some 15-year-old kid
Squeaking.
telling me to get good.
Yeah. You'd be fuming. You'd be fuming.
I'd be fuming.
I'll be campaigning for that for a while. Yeah, don't want it. They're not replying to that message.
All right, fair. Well, okay. One other thing I've got to ask. So, when you think about the best footballer that's good at FIFA, I would probably go to maybe like Diogo Jota, who's like different level. Do you think you could beat Diogo Jota at FIFA?
Yeah, 100%. Surely. Although that guy sweats at Jota, I'm coming.
Yeah,
he's injured now, isn't he?
Wait, mate, down the barrel, send your message to Diogo Jota.
Diogo Jota, mate, I'm ready whenever you are. I'm ready.
Take two. That's no conviction in that. No, not screaming, but just tell it with conviction. Say it with your chest.
He knows. He knows. But to be fair, I heard he like plays it like an hour before kickoff, so I don't know, mate.
Well, he's injured now. He's been playing a lot of FIFA.
Yeah,
so
he is.
you know what I mean. There's time, Diogo. Hit my guy JCC up.
I'm ready.
Where can he find you on socials?
JCC on pretty much every socials, or World of JCC on most as well. Yeah. I'm here, mate.
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
Thank you ever so much for coming on today, John.
you.
We've got to wrap it there, my guy.
Yeah.
As I said, he's a World of JCC on Instagram, JCC on all social platforms. Go give him a like, go give him a subscribe. And Quaker, where can they find us?
You can find us at We Talk Football Podcast on Instagram, WTF Podcast 90 on Twitter. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're everywhere you can find podcasts. We're going to be back with more videos very, very soon. James going to kill me if I don't shout out the TikTok, so follow us on TikTok. And make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel.
Cheers, guys. Catch you next time.
Thank you.